Another fight that's speculated by fans on basically who would have actually won a particular fight is a fight between Mike Tyson after he came out of prison versus Tommy Morrison, who actually came into prominence when Mike Tyson was in prison. Now, the thing about Tommy Morrison was, like, I think the boxing press at the time was trying to market him as the white Mike Tyson. If I remember, he used to have the same management team as Mike Tyson. I think he was managed by Kevin Rooney and Bill Caton as well. And he had the likes of basically Bill Caton managing him. His trainer was obviously Kevin Rooney. And basically, he had a style that was somewhat reminiscent of a Mike Tyson. If you look at him, the way he used to throw his hooks and such, it was very Tyson-esque. He wasn't like a long-range boxer like a Lennox Lewis. This was a dude that used to throw left hooks and uppercuts and used to knock people out. And he also was marketable because he used to be, I think he was an actor on Rocky 5. He had a marketable image about himself. Obviously, he wasn't as marketable as Mike Tyson, but who is? So, basically, one fight that a lot of people were wondering about is who would have won in a fight between Tommy Morrison and Mike Tyson. Now, in my opinion, obviously, the Mike Tyson that came out of prison was nowhere near as good as prime Mike Tyson. Prime Mike Tyson, in my opinion, was the Mike Tyson that fought Michael Spinks. Now, if it was that version of Mike Tyson, so we talk about prime Mike Tyson versus prime Tommy Morrison, I think Mike Tyson would have destroyed him quite easily. But if we're talking about the one that came out of prison, obviously his reflex would have slowed a little bit, and he's not as explosive, and his rhythm is just not as good as it once was, pre-prison, that is. So who would have won that fight between them two? It's an interesting proposition because Tommy Morrison, although he had very strong strengths, which was his left hook and his power, also his speed and his tenacity, and he was a decent fighter. He also had world-class vulnerabilities. He didn't have the best chin. This was a dude that used to sometimes get rocked and knocked out. If you look at the Ray Mercer knockout, after that Ray Mercer knockout happened, his chin was never the same. Now, say what you like about Mike Tyson, but there's one thing that he definitely had, which was an underrated quality of his, and that was his chin. He had a great chin. This was a dude that was going in there against people that were several inches taller than him, that outweighed him by 2, 3, 4, 5 stones at times, and he would take shots from them. Don't get it twisted, he had a great defense, so he did avoid a lot of shots, but when he did take shots on his chin from the likes of Buster Douglas, who was bigger than him, from the likes of Lennox Lewis, who was bigger than him, and who were punchers as well, he took an absolute shellacking, and he could take a shellacking because he had a thick neck and a great chin. So who do I think wins between these two? If we're talking about post-prison Tyson, he wasn't nowhere near as dynamic as he once was, but post-prison Mike Tyson was still able to win a world title. He wasn't as good as he was in 1988 when he was fighting the likes of Michael Spinks and such, but he was still a formidable fighter. Obviously, this, when we're talking about post-prison Tyson, we're talking about the Mike Tyson before he fought Evander Holyfield. So when he was going on a tear, when he won the title, obviously the Bruce Seldon fight was a joke, but he still managed to win the title against Frank Bruno. So if we're talking about post-prison Tyson, the one that fought Frank Bruno, I think that version of Tyson still beats Tommy Morrison. The reason why I say that is he still has his chin. He's not as he was past it. He was not as good as he once was. He was not as dynamic as he was when he was 21, when he fought Michael Spinks and beat him for the title. But he was still dynamic enough to land a shot on I think Tommy Morrison's chin. Tommy Morrison didn't have the best defense, and on top of that, he didn't have the best chin. He had a great left hook. His offense was very good, but ironically, I think that would be his downfall against Mike Tyson, because as he would let his offense go to his best form of defense is attack. But as he would attack him, he would actually create openings for Mike Tyson to exploit, and I think Mike Tyson would exploit it, and eventually he would land one on his chin, and eventually I think he'll knock him out. So that's my thoughts. I think Mike Tyson knocks him out in the 8th or the 9th round. But obviously, this is just my opinion. You might disagree with me. Obviously, this is not prime Tyson that I'm talking about. This is post-prison Tyson, before the Evander Holyfield losses. But just basically the Mike Tyson that fought Frank Bruno the second time and regained the title that he lost because of prison. The rematch against Frank Bruno, that version of Tyson, I think he beats Tommy Morrison. But obviously, this is just my opinion. You tell me your opinion. Tell me who you think would win that particular fight. Maybe you think Tommy Morrison would win. And to be fair, it's not a bad argument, because we're not talking about prime Tyson here. We're talking about the Tyson that just came out of prison and he didn't look as formidable as he once did. So yeah, that's my thoughts below. Tell me your thoughts below. Like and subscribe to this channel. I've got a lot more content coming your way. Peace out.